step into my office. What's up with YouTube? It's your boy Lil Josh, and you watching Biz Entertainment. Y'all know what's going on, and we back with another one, man. And today is day 23 of Scaretober, Vlogtober, 31 days of scary movies, man, with your boy Bizzle Entertainment. Let's get it. So, guys, for today, we watched two scary movies. One being Frankenstein of 1931 and the other being Scream of 1996, the very first Scream movie. Without further ado, let's get into it. So Frankenstein of 1931 was a horror / sci-fi movie, so basically like a scary monster movie and everything like that. And to be honest with y'all, it was just like the other movies that we watched, like the original monster movies that came out around this time, like 1930s and stuff like that. So it wasn't really a lot. Like it was interesting. I feel like the story behind Frankenstein, just how they created it, I feel like it's pretty cool. Somebody's taking all these dismembered parts, putting them together to make a human, well, not a human, but to bring something alive and stuff like that. I do feel like Frankenstein, this movie, has like a classical, almost like a legendary type of feeling towards it, because as you know, like the phrase "it's alive."
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Came from this movie, and that has been like something that's always kind of been referenced in other scary movies. Not every scary movie, but other ones and things like that. And this is where they got it from. So it definitely does hold that classical weight to it. But like I said, it just kind of matches up with the other 1930s movies that came out. It was black and white. The acting was kind of all the same. Like they all talked the same. They did it the best they could for what they had back then. So wasn't a lot to say about this movie. It was pretty cool just seeing like the classical side of it and like where Frankenstein came from and stuff like that. The rating that I give this movie is a 5.9 out of 10. Yes, it's middle tier, but it, do that. Like it just didn't do that for me. It just didn't, just. So that's the rating I give Frankenstein. Now, moving on to the next movie, Scream of 1996. Now, like I told y'all before in the last video, I am a fan of the Scream franchise. I do like the Scream movies. I think they're pretty cool, and they hold a lot of weight in the horror movie category, I feel like. And when you think of Halloween time, you always think about Scream. You always think about Ghostface and everything like that. And I do like how they kind of just in this movie, he kind of referenced all the other scary movies too. Like they referenced Jason and Freddy Krueger and things like that. So I liked the movie. It was a pretty good movie to me. In the beginning, it was kind of just kind of some senseless killings and stuff like that. So it wasn't just but I feel like the end was like the real, like the best part of the movie. The end kind of made everything about the movie. They did have a Freddy cameo in here, which I thought was pretty cool. They had a janitor that had the Freddy Krueger like the style sweater on, and the janitor's name was Freddy. So I thought that was pretty cool to see that in there. And being I'm watching all these scary movies, I was able to see like, oh, we just watched Freddy Krueger a couple days ago, and now I see it being referenced in another scary movie. And all these scary movies kind of came out around the same time, and they kind of all not connect with each other, but they all relate to each other in a sense. So I thought that was pretty cool. They did have some kind of normal camera angles. They did do a Dutch angle for one of the shots. I do know it could be some other ones, but the garage scene, they used a Dutch angle for that. But yeah, I mean, Scream, it's the beginning of the Scream series. It's a pretty good starting point, I feel like, for the movie. I do feel like I would have to watch the other ones. Now, I have watched some of them. I'm not sure if I watched all of them. Like this one, I did watch this one like beforehand, but I really didn't remember too much of it. And I liked the story about it. It had a very good storyline with all these movies that was connected in the Scream series. The only problems I had with this movie is I feel like the characters that played Ghostface or whatever you want to call him, he kind of did some unrealistic stuff. If you would say like when she was locked in the car, he was unlocking different sides of the car, but the way he was like he had the keys to the car, and being this time there was no button. I mean, it probably was some buttons something like, but he had just a key, and you would have to put the key in the door and then unlock it. So you would hear that, but in the movie you just see the lock pop up on this side. She go and put it down, then it pop up on this side. Like, how is he doing it? You know, this ain't like this isn't a character that has like powers and stuff. He's just a regular person in a suit running around with a knife. So some things I feel like he shouldn't be able to do, but hey, you know, it is what it is. But that's probably the only thing that I would say about this movie that I just really didn't like. So the rating that I give this movie, Scream, the first one of 1996, I rate this movie a 7.7 out of 10. Like I said, I feel like it was a pretty decent movie. It's a good start to the series, and it always, the Scream series itself always just gives you that Halloween feeling. You know, you have to watch Scream during, you know, in October or during Halloween. That's one of the movies that you have to see. With that being said, now we're gonna move on to the next probably 2 movies that we're gonna be watching, maybe 1 or 2 I'm gonna see. But let's find out which movies those are. All right, so the next 2 movies that we will be watching are Sleepy Hollow of 1999 and The Witch of 2015. Now, I've never heard of neither one of these movies, so we finna see what's up with them. So, Sleepy Hollow. So, Sleepy Hollow, like I said, was made in 1999. It is a rated R film. The director is Tim Burton. They have an award for Best Production Design. Okay, so that's pretty cool. We're gonna see why they got that award. So, the overview for this, it's a pretty short overview, but we're gonna read it. And it says, Constable Ichabod Crane is sent to the tiny village of Sleepy Hollow, where a headless horseman is leaving a trail of decapitated bodies. Oh, okay, so Johnny Depp is in here. I think he's the main character. Christopher Walken. Okay, so there's a few familiar faces in this film, so I'm expecting it to be pretty decent. So that's Sleepy Hollow. Now on to the next movie, The Witch. This movie came out in 2015. I have not seen this movie either. Let's see, the director is Robert Eggers. They had a $4 million budget. That's kind of weird for a newer film to have just $4 million, but you know, maybe that's all they needed. And so the overview of this film says, in 1630, New England, panic and despair envelops a farmer, his wife, and their children when youngest son Samuel suddenly vanishes. The family blames Thomason, the oldest daughter, who is watching the boy at the time of his disappearance. With suspicion and paranoia mounting, twin siblings Mercy and Jonas suspect Thomason of witchcraft, testing the clan's faith, loyalty, and love to one another. So, the first thing that stood out to me with that overview is it's saying the setting of this movie is 1630 New England, and back in that time there was a lot of weird stuff going on. So I feel like they were probably gonna be real creative in bringing things of the past that were like, I guess, folk tales. I feel like they're gonna bring that to, you know, now. And so we're gonna be able to see that they really, I feel like with this movie, they really could do, you know, a big thing with it. Like, they can make this a really good movie if they play their cards right. So that is what we're gonna be hoping for. But yeah, y'all, that's it for today's video. That's the 2 movies that we will be watching coming up tonight. So make sure that y'all are sticking with the series. Like the video if you enjoy this content, if you enjoy the series that we're having right now. Series is almost over. We still are on the catching up process of it, but we almost caught up. And yeah, man, I appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure you follow my Twitch. I'll be live on there probably today, and you know, probably tomorrow, and the day after that, day after that, day after that. So y'all follow me on Twitch. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We are currently at 330, and we are, the goal for the end of this year is 500. So We are almost there, more than halfway there. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all for watching. It's your boy Lil Josh. You watching Biz Entertainment, and I'm out.